How do, and welcome back. Hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to be tasting my American Pale Ale. I brewed this two and a half weeks ago, I think it is now. It's been in the bottle just over a week and it's really starting to get hard. I think it still needs a few days, but I want to try this and see what it tastes like. So I'll just give you a rundown of the ingredients and the statistics, and then we'll open this and see what it tastes like. So I used light dry malt extract. The specialty grains were Carapils and Crystal. Bittering with Columbus for 30 minutes, just a 30-minute boil. And there was Cascade and Amirillo at 15 minutes, and then also a 15-minute hop stand with the same. I added a bit of Irish moss. Used US 05 for the yeast, and it was fermented at 20 degrees. So my original gravity was 1050. Final gravity was 1011, so it's a 78% attenuation, and the IBUs are 40. So let's crack it open because I'm ready for this, and we'll see what it tastes like. Oh, nice big hiss there. Some CO2 smoke. Right. I'm going to use a nucleated glass, but I don't think I needed to. I was just thinking I'll give it a bit of help just in case it's just not ready, but that looks a nice beer. Nice copper colour. Light amber. It's a little bit hazy yet. That could be because I've actually had it in the fridge for about 3 or 4 hours. So some of that could be chill haze. Nice frothy white head. Okay, let's go for the aroma. Oh, nice malt. There's a bit of sweet malt in there, but it's mixed with a really nice citrus note. Citrusy fruits, a little bit of grapefruit as well. That'll be from the Cascade. Like a tangerine or like a orangey sort of marmalade-y. Yeah, nice citrus, grapefruit aroma mixed with some nice, a little bit of sweet malt, a little bit of toffee from that Crystal. It was, by the way, 140 EBC. Right, I'm thirsty. I've just done about 9-10 hours straight. So at work, so I'm ready for this. Cheers. Yes. Nice and sweet right at the start. Some toffee there. Light to medium mouthfeel, but then it quickly goes to that really nice sort of citrusness. Like a little bit of there's a bit of like a lemony orange sort of citrusness. But then right at the top you get that grapefruit, a little bit of sharpness from the grapefruit, but not too much. And then it finishes dry. And yeah, a nice little bitterness, lingering bitterness. Then 40 IBUs come in then, and you get a nice bitter aftertaste. That's a really nice beer. I'm impressed with that. I was a little bit worried about using Cascade and Amirillo because they're pretty similar at the end of the day, you know, citrusy, fruity, but works. So I mean, if it works, why complain, and why change anything? And of course the Cascade brings that little bit of that grapefruitiness in as well, which I don't think is part of the Amarillo flavour profile. That's nice. It's nice, and it's nicely balanced with the malt. So it's not an IPA. It's not going to be a bitter bomb. You know, it's a bit more balanced with those nice crystal, caramelly, malty flavours. I like that. That's nice. So why did I do a pale ale? Like a West Coast pale ale and not an IPA? So you want to do an American IPA? Well, for the book, I want to do an English IPA. Because I think they're underrated, to be honest. I found this book, so I bought it, as you do. It's the Homebrewer's Guide to Vintage Beer. And basically this guy, what's he called? Ron Pattinson. It's not that old, this book. This edition is 2017. I don't know when it was originally written though. 2014 I think is the earliest date. So it's not that old. Basically he seems to have got access to archives of breweries of bygone days, and is sort of like transcribed or translated their recipes into homebrew recipes. So you get breweries like Whitbread and Barclay Perkins and Reed and Lees and all these breweries that we just don't hear of anymore, but in the heyday of the English ale scene. And it's packed full of recipes: stouts, bitters, porters, milds, and it has a section on IPA. So what I'm actually going to do is read through several of these recipes and get some inspiration, and then create my own recipe from them. What's interesting though is that especially if you look at the pale ale section, is how much sugar was being used in these Victorian beers. Not just Victorian. The book actually, let me just explain the book. It's got a list there of all the recipes. The earliest beer is from 1804, and it's a Barclay Perkins table. And then there's recipes from the 1820s, 1830s, 40s, 50s, all the way through the latest beer. The last beer is from 1979, a Boy's Bitter. So all the way from, like, you know, over 200 years old, there's examples of recipes. And what's interesting, even then back in the day, how much sugar they were using in their beers. We usually think, you know, adjunct beers are an American thing, you know. American lagers and American beers, or they stick maize in, or corn as they call it, and they stick rice in, and they stick sugar in. Well, sorry, we were doing that as well. All these old Victorian ales that people remember of fondly, like the Whitbreads and the Bass. There were half of the ingredients was sugar. So let's have a look at it. Number one, invert sugar. Well, that's 12%, but I've found one where it's been like 30% just sugar. So it's not just an American thing. We all did it. But mine won't be. Mine will be an all malt beer. But yeah, it's just interesting. And what's also interesting is some of these IBUs. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. An 1886 Hodgson Bitter Ale. Sorry, my throat's a bit dry. I've been presenting conferences and things like that. IBU, get this, 150. 150 IBU. An 1875 Whitbread Pale Ale, IBU of 148. Bloody hell. That beats a lot of IPAs today. This is just the pale ales. But it does say that these were what's called stock ales. And back in the day, a stock ale was an ale that you put aside and matured. So they could have been in storage for maybe 3 months before they went out to the actual pub. And in that time, those IBUs will have mellowed, because the hops they depreciate over time. And it probably was nowhere near 148 or 150 by the time that the punters got it in a glass and got it down their throats. But I just thought that was interesting. There's some crazy IBUs in these recipes. But and then surprisingly, when you look at the IPA section, they're more like what we would expect. Oh no, they're not. Sorry, I got that one wrong. So a Reed IPA from 1939, 177 IBUs. 1953 Younger XP. That's 196 IBU. Now, of course, these were on ships. They were going to go to India. 6 months journey. Like I say, you know, they over-hopped, they over-bittered, but by the time it got to Delhi or wherever it was that it was going to, Mumbai, as it was called then, or, you know, they changed the names, didn't they? It wouldn't have tasted that bitter. It would have mellowed and become more rounded. But yeah, then there's some quite more modestly at 60, 40. But there you go, it's an interesting book, so I'm going to read this. And I'm not going to do 150 or 190 IBU beer. But I'll take inspiration from the recipes and then brew my own British IPA. So that's why for the book I'm just doing a pale ale in the American style. And I think this is a winner. I think this is a cracking pale ale, nicely balanced. You've got the citrusiness of the hops, you've got a little bit of the toffee carameliness of the malts, a little bit of grapefruit, and a nice 40 IBU bitter just at the back end to finish things off. And I'm going to finish this off now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye for now.